He's hungrily clawing at you. You say, Lord, please. He says, yes, Lord, please. And then you take her. Hungry, wantedly, eagerly.
If television is suggestive, radio can leave almost nothing to the imagination. But what the Greaseman calls spicy material has made DC 101's ratings and sales skyrocket. So sizzle with blue humor in our series On the Airwaves, Anything Goes, coming up on News 7.
26 minutes before 9, the Greaseman shrieking and reeking on DC 101.
Radio is the most personal broadcast medium of all. It travels with us in our cars and sometimes everywhere we walk.
9 o'clock at WKYS Washington.
Sergeant Weaver here on WMAL AM 63.
While most stations still toe the straight and narrow, it's possible to hear on the air talk that many consider unsuitable in mixed company.
If, for example, I had been that man standing there adjusting my beard, and that woman walked into the bathroom, at the very least, I'd have been a gentleman and shown her to her seat.
On DC 101, Doug Tracht calls himself the Greaseman. His is the radio show people are talking about. He tells outrageous jokes, substituting code words for street terms. Is it in good taste?
Yeah, I think it's funny stuff. I think it's stuff that we're talking about. Today's people, the
I think it's
1984
funny.
stuff.
Is it in good taste?
Yeah.
What is hydraulics?
Hydraulics are, you use hydraulics and equipment.
No, the way you use code words. What are hydraulics?
Hydraulics? I'm talking like a ditch witch hydraulics, you know?
What's hobbledehoy?
Hobbledehoy is the sound a man makes when he's very happy.
Okay. Any intelligent person would understand that hydraulics is a male sex organ, hobbledehoy is
That's
a sex
what you
act.
say. I don't
No,
buy
I mean,
it.
let's be candid. That's what it is. That's what you're doing. They're
That's
code
not
words.
what it is. I mean, you can't talk about that stuff on the radio. My God.
First off, I think that most of his content that would tend towards being blue or off color goes right over the heads of kids.
DC 101 program director Don Davis says the Greaseman is fourth in the ratings. Considering the nature of Grease's material, it's surprising he gets only half a dozen complaints a month. Davis is not worried by the Federal Communications Commission either.
The commission has moved firstly into kind of a free market, an open market situation where listeners, consumers in this particular case, have the option in this market of over 30 radio stations to listen to. And if they're uncomfortable or not happy with the programming they hear on a station, it's a free country. They're welcome to go and try any one of those other 30 or 35 stations that are available.
I think it makes kind of cheers everybody up in the mornings.
You think they're vulgar?
Vulgar? Yeah. Sometimes.
Do you believe that kind of material has a place in broadcasting?
Sure.
Other listeners are turned off by the Greaseman and his sexual humor.
I feel very strongly that I think we need to decrease it both on the radio and in the media. And we need to really start focusing on our kids and the way they're growing up and get back to basic American values.
Howard Stern preceded the Greaseman on DC 101. Some say he was a pioneer here on the frontiers of poor taste. He's now holding forth on WNBC in New York.
Yeah, that's only half the dress code. You're not allowed to wear jeans, and especially no bras. I'm going to throw that in. I recommended that to him. All girls' breasts will be freely hanging for me to touch.
Does Howard Stern's humor shock listeners here in the Big Apple?
I think he's amusing.
Is he in good taste?
Well, it depends on how rowdy you want to be.
Does it bother you?
Not at all.
He never says anything bothers you.
No, because not too many things bother me.
Would you say absolutely anything to get people to laugh?
Absolutely not. I would not say anything to get people to laugh. I'd almost say anything, but there are certain times I keep my mouth shut. But of course, I mean, I don't go on the air and use the F curse word and the S curse word.
Would you if they would let you?
Oh, I would love to.
Howard Stern's show when he was here gave me lots of moments of trepidation. But the Greaseman doesn't really bother me.
Jason Shrinsky, the attorney who represents DC 101, formerly home of Howard Stern, now featuring the Greaseman in the morning.
The public really determines, particularly on radio, what's going to be broadcast. In major market radio, every radio station lives and dies by the Arbitron ratings.
That's when I would have probably played with their mind a little bit to my own gratification.
Ratings mean sponsors, but several sponsors were turned off by Howard Stern. They pulled their commercials off of the entire station. This has not been the case with the Greaseman. Maybe sponsors and his audience find Greaseman acceptable, but how about government regulators?
I personally do not like his programming. I choose not to listen to it. But does it cross the line of obscenity? It's very close. Does it cross it? I don't think so.
Tomorrow we look at the regulators and why they have not lifted a broadcast license for obscenity in nearly 20 years. John Harter, News 7.